Hello everyone and welcome to Samuel's Racing Show. This is our first episode of the season and of course the majority of it is going to be talking about Anaheim 1, the Supercross and Super Motocross season opener. A reminder that I am a failed employee, so I will mind my tongue on a couple of things that I say, but most of this will be personal opinion. And then also I'm going to touch on a little bit of sim racing news as well for people who come to my YouTube channel to watch me sim racing, and I'm sorry for you guys that I don't win more often. But anyway, let's start. Well, actually, there is a third thing I want to discuss as well, and that's why am I talking about Supercross on Sunday when the race happened on Saturday, and that's because yesterday I was actually at Freedom Factory Park, which is a racetrack in Bradenton, Florida, but for a long time they've been doing drifting events there and drag racing events there. Yesterday they finally opened it again for oval racing, and there were only 3 classes, but a ton of cars in the pits. There were 3 different classes, but multiple cars. There was a great crowd turnout, put on some great racing. Traffic was a little bit of a pain to get out when the night was over, but I guess that you'll have that at racetracks. And so it was great seeing that racetrack back up, and gets me excited about the prospects of maybe getting a Legends car in the future, having multiple places around here to race it. But anyway, let's talk about the dirt bikes, because, again, I'm a failed employee, and of course one of the big stories over the off-season, if you will, has been the unification, rather, of Supercross and and Motocross into the series Super Motocross, which is 31 rounds, will run throughout the entire 2023 calendar season. But at the end of the day, all politics, all that aside, it's A1, and everyone comes there wanting to win that. 250s were up first. Dret Lawrence won it. In 2022, I think I may have made an episode saying I was kind of cheering for the underdog in Austin Faulkner, but he does seem to be a little incident prone. I was not very pleased about the fact that the reason he was kind of taken out of title contention was because of an incident with Dret Lawrence. Granted, it wasn't Dret Lawrence's fault. Whereas this time, it was, I mean, it was still a racing incident he was involved in, but yet again, it was another accident for Austin Faulkner. I've got to admit, I just finished watching the race. I haven't been to all of the social media outlets yet, so I don't know the exact condition on Austin Faulkner and if he's going to be able to race next week. Obviously, I hope he is, because maybe then we'll still have a nice little championship battle between him and Dret. But right now, it definitely is looking like Dret Lawrence is a guy to beat in 250s. 450s wasn't as dominant. Well, it was in the end. Eli Tomac definitely stamped his authority on that race and said, hey, I'm the guy to beat this season. But throughout the race, man, you had comers and goers. Barsha was leading early, and then Tomac was leading, then went down. And then, so that kind of handed it over to Sexton at the time, who also went down or something like that, or got passed by Malcolm Stewart. Or maybe it was the other way around. Anyway, long story short, there were a lot of riders. Now, one thing I do is fantasy picks. Again, because I'm a failed employee, I'm not eligible for prizes, so don't worry, there's no conflict of interest or anything there. But I did make fantasy picks, and I'll read them out for you, who I predicted the top 5. I predicted Sexton to win, Anderson to get 2nd, Roxon to get 3rd, Tomac to get 4th, Stewart to get 5th, and Nichols to get the wildcard spot in 10th. So let's talk about those 6 riders. Sexton to win. Okay, that's, I don't think that's too outrageous, and he finished 3rd place, so kudos to him. Anderson to get 2nd. I think he had an off at some point, didn't he? And that's kind of why he faded to finish in 7th in the end. Roxon in 3rd. Now, I was a little bit critical of Roxon toward the end of a 2022 Supercross season. I kind of thought he might have been starting to show signs that he was on the tail end of his career. But all the news was saying that, this switch to Suzuki had motivated him, and he won A1 last year. And so that's why I thought, okay, Roxon's going to have a really good round. And to his credit, he did. He came home with a 5th place, but probably, my guess is it wasn't exactly what he was after. I had him down for 3rd. Tomac, I had for 4th, and obviously there was a point in the race where he was in 4th because he went down and then got back up again. By the way, all these picks at like one point in the race, I was looking really good, and then the second half of the race happened and everything changed. Obviously, I picked Tomac to finish fourth, he finished first. Stewart, man. uh, there was a time I think all of us saw during that race, hey, Stewart's finally going to win one. You know, because of the split of Supercross and Motocross, and I don't, until this year, I haven't really paid a whole lot of attention to motocross in the past. I kind of forgot that Stewart had never actually won a Supercross race until we were kind of talking about it during the preseason stories. Like, it's easy to forget that Stewart has never won a Supercross race, and it's like, oh yeah, I completely did forget that. And yeah, thought he finally might have had it done. And you know, it's a long season. Maybe he will get one, obviously, much like Austin Faulkner. Hope he's not too badly shaken up from that incident that he had. And then my pick for the wildcard position for 10th place was Colt Nichols. Now, I believe the rider who got 10th eventually was Joey Savatri. But Colt Nichols was down in about, I mean, he got the whole shot, if I remember correctly. And then he was down in about 9th or 10th place for most of the race. And then he ended up in 6th. So kudos to Colt Nichols moving up to 450 and getting 6th place there. Not good for my fantasy picks, but still definitely good for him. So the last thing I'm going to talk about here is sim racing. There was some news during the off-season that IndyCar and iRacing no longer have a partnership. IndyCar is focusing on motorsport games. And you know, that's all well and good. The problem is they've kind of made they've made a contract stipulation that on iRacing we can't broadcast IndyCar Series races. I compete in the Lionheart Racing Series, and our premier division is the Lionheart IndyCar Series, or was the Lionheart IndyCar Series, which was broadcast on Race Spot TV on YouTube. That series is going to continue in 2023 with a different name, you know, not IndyCar, but it's not going to be broadcast. Lionheart's second tier series is a Lionheart Retro series, which we can continue with because that is old Formula One cars, old Lotus 79s, not IndyCars, it's just kind of IndyCar style racing. And I have signed up to compete in that this season, but that season doesn't start until April. Now, what's going to be happening between now and April is I'm going to be upgrading my computer so that I can run triple monitors. And funnily enough, the last computer part is sitting right over there. It arrived today, so I'm going to start assembling that in the coming weeks, set up triple monitors, and hopefully we'll have plenty of great iRacing content coming later in the year. This is going to be a little bit of a Supercross themed show, obviously, for the next few weeks, because there's not a whole lot of racing going on. This sounds bad, but the idea is to lower the production quality of these episodes, and the reason is because in the past I've put a lot of work into making this look pretty. I haven't always seen it throughout the calendar year. So the idea this year is keep it simple, me in front of a green screen. Maybe I'll put stuff on the green screen, maybe I won't. And just relay my information, my thoughts. Sometimes I might chat with other fans out there. Joe Peak comes to mind, and we'll see who else comes up throughout the year. And, start to share opinions on the motor racing scene again. But a very entertaining A1, and I think they're off to Oakland for round number 2. So have a great week, guys, and we'll see you all around.